So good morning, everyone in Facebook Live and here in the Zoom audience. Today is the 10th of October, 2021, and today we have a very special guest speaker, Jose Lobo Fontalvo from Colombia. He's going to present a very important topic today. As usual, let me share my screen with some info about this presentation today and the other weeks. Okay, international English online meetings are broadcast every 15 days. And we always read some quotes. Bernardo, can you help us with the first one? Read it aloud and tell me your opinion.
The most important thing in communication is hearing what isn't said. By Peter Drucker, sayingpoint.com.
What do you think, Carlos?
Well, this is something that sometimes you have to, well, the meaning can be a subliminal meaning because
Yes.
sometimes you hear just what you want to hear,
Yes.
but you don't pay attention to other details. There
Very
are
good.
details that sometimes they are kept under the rug.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. Gloria Tello, next one.
A good communication is the bridge between confusion and clarity.
What do you think, Gloria? Good communication is the bridge between confusion and clarity.
Really, I think that is very important that nowadays we have a good bridge in communication because it's another way that we have to come in contact with another person. Especially now we are living a virtual reality. That is the only mean that we have maybe to have different point of view or different kind of point of view of the people. That is for me.
Yeah, thank you, Gloria. Medali, could you please help us with the next one and express your opinion? Sorry, Medali.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, communication to a relationship is like oxygen. It's to life. Without it, it dies. Yes, I think that communication obviously is like oxygen. We need to hear to others. We need to listen to others and to give. Not only what as Bernardo said, that is not only to hear what we want to hear. It goes beyond that. Now we have to interpret what the other one wants to say us.
Very
and
good.
We have to be open mind to hear and to accept.
Yeah, thank you so much, dear Medali. Now, so if you want to watch the other videos, they are in my YouTube channel. Now, who is presenting soon? Our good friend in Lima, Peru, Roxy Tenorio, Sunday, 24th of October. After her, our good friend Mauricio Arango from Colombia, again, Sunday, the 7th of November. And then Alastair Grant from England, Sunday, the 14th of November. Then our good friends from Colombia and Argentina, Silvina Velázquez and Rocío Oviedo, the 21st of November. And finally, Marina González from Argentina, Sunday, the 5th of December. And today we have the pleasure of listening and learning from our good friend, Jose Lobo. Let me say a few words about Jose Lobo. Full professor at the Universidad del Atlántico in Barranquilla. He completed an undergraduate degree in languages with an emphasis on teaching Spanish and English at Uniatlántico. He completed a master's degree at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County in Intercultural Communication and a doctorate in education with emphasis in second language literacy at the University of Cincinnati. His preferred research topic is communication competence. So welcome, dear Jose. Thank you so much for your time on a Sunday morning, because I know you have a family to take care of. So thank you so much. And let me introduce your friends here in the Zoom audience: Carlos Carranza from Ecuador, Raj Gill from Canada, Gloria Tello from Ecuador, Maria Teresa from Bolivia, Medalik from Peru, Roxy from Peru, Marco Antonio, hello, in Mexico, Micaela in Peru, and Alida in Colombia. So the screen is yours, Jose. Your microphone, Jose.
Sorry. So I want to thank you for this great opportunity. I would like to say that maybe in the future, Jaime, we could have like an underground railroad, you know, like in the United States, they had African Americans, they escaped from the south to the north, but they had to use like a channel. They had to use like a bridge. You know, it was not a bridge, it was not a channel, it was like a symbolic way to escape to the north. And maybe we can do an underground or railroad in terms of English, you know, so that we can get to know people in Argentina get to know people in, you know, in other countries, in Brazil, maybe in Colombia, you know, Salvador, many other countries, because we don't know each other.
Well, mi casa es tu casa, Jose Lobo, whenever you want to come to Peru, and anybody here in the Zoom audience and anybody in Facebook Live.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. And the issue of communication is so vital. The issue of communication is very important. But at the same time, many people are not paying attention to the issue of communication. You know, and the issue of communication has two things, it has two divisions. In the 1960s, 1970s, and in the 1980s and 90s, you know, even in the year 2000s, you know, some scholars, they started talking about communicative competence in English, not only in English, but also in ethnography, in the field of linguistics, and in the field of applied linguistics. They started talking about, and in the field of evaluation, you know, in education. So they talked about communicative competence from different directions, different directions, you know, from the field of linguistics to the field of sociolinguistics to the field of culture, you know, and that includes the field of pragmatics, and that includes also other fields, you know. But in the year 2010 to 2012, you know, because of Daniel Goleman, he was talking about, you know, intelligence and on all sorts of things, you know, in regards to businesses and stuff like that. Somebody came up with the idea of communicative intelligence. Communicative intelligence, specifically in the field of the relationship between the police and the community.
Sorry to interrupt, Jose Lobo. Are you sharing?
No, not yet, but I'm going to do it in a second. Yes, I'm going to do it in a second.
Okay.
So in the field of being a policeman and serving the community, it's really complicated, especially in the United States, where police officers have weapons, they have tasers, they have all sorts of instruments that they can use to control people. But are they really communicating with people? Now, teachers in Colombia or in Peru or in Bolivia or in any other country, that includes the United States and European countries, teachers are public servants as well. Police officers are public servants, and we have to make decisions. And we have to make decisions based on communication. Now, number one, when I communicate with my students, do I yell? Do I insult? Do I raise my voice? What should I do? What kind of an approach should I follow? So let me share my screen now. I hope I am sharing my screen.
Yes, you are, Jose.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. So
yes, it does.
I want to talk about communicative competence versus communicative intelligence. And then give me 1 second. I just need to open my iPad so that I can see my notes.
Of course.
And then in his research, Dale Hines in the 1970s, described communicative competence as the speaker's awareness of how language is used within the social matrix, of life. And then in the 1960s again, and in the 1970s, also in the 1980s and 1990s, and even in the year 2000, other people in the field of linguistics, for example, Chomsky, he talked about linguistic competence, but then some other scholars who believe that his viewpoint, that his take on language was very limited. They said, but we have to expand this. We need to say that communicative competence deals with pragmatic competence, and pragmatic competence deals with how my words how impact other people's feelings, how other people understand my words, if they feel offended, if they feel praised, blah 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 blah. And they said Chomsky never talked about that. Chomsky was talking about some grammatical structures and some structures in the brain, but in real life, language is more social, and that's why they were talking about pragmatic competence. Now, some of the people in the 1960s, like Grice and Austin, they also mentioned things like speech acts, and some other things that they talked about, like the principle of cooperation and blah 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 blah. But then in the 1980s, John J. Gompers comes up with the idea that when I am talking, or when somebody's talking, his language reflects his social class or her social class, her gender or his gender, or his sexual orientation, and then also his political ideas, his religious ideas, blah 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 blah. But then in the year in the 2000s, and we come with Savignon and also Lobo here. I come up with the idea of conversational competence. And one thing that I observed was that in English language textbooks, they teach us about grammar, and they teach us about some pragmatic competence and a little bit about sociocultural competence, if they teach that, but they don't teach us how to maintain a conversation in English, how to start a conversation, how to initiate a conversation, how to select a topic, how to change topics, how to insert a question within a question, how to change conversations, how to finalize the conversation, and how to announce that you're going to finalize the conversation. Those things are not really taught, in English language textbooks, because I always observed, and that's what I observed in, when I did my doctorate, my doctoral degree, was that textbooks are not based on real data. They are not based on real conversations, but they are based on the writer's or the author's intuition. But intuition is not enough. Data is what matters, And then Austin in the 1990s came up with the idea of strategic competence. It means, what strategies do I use? What communicative strategies do I use to attain what I want? To convince somebody to do something, to suggest that I need something, or to get a person to think differently. So, all right. So all of these people, the people who really talked about this, were Cannell and Swain in the 1980s, Chomsky in 1965, May, who talked about pragmatic competence in the year 1993, Gompers in 1982, me, Jose Lobo, I talked about this in 2012, Mayer et al., and other authors, they talked about these issues, in 2017, and Austin, who talked about this, in the 1990s. But then, in regards to communicative competence, Jenkins and Parra, they did a study on communicative competence, and they discovered how they see it. They discovered that communicative competence is like an onion. you know, and you know that onions have layers, different layers, and each layer, when you just raise a layer, when you just lift a layer, you find, for example, the layer of linguistics and the layer of pragmatics and the layer of social culture and the layer of conversational analysis and the layer of strategic your strategies, the strategies that you use, you know, and that's how they see it. They don't see it like a big circle. They see it like circles within circles within circles. I mean, different layers like an onion. So it's a complicated issue, but it's an attainable issue. The one thing that scholars until the year 2002 and 2006 or something, they didn't see was that communicative competence needs some kind of intelligence. I can be a competent person, communicatively speaking, but I can be a very bad communicator. I'm going to give you one example, Donald Trump. I would say that maybe Donald Trump, it's my opinion, it's based on what I have observed and based on data that I have collected, you know, he's a terrible communicator. Now, he communicates with some people, but he cannot communicate with many a person, you know. And then that's when I, in the year 2012, Zoller in 2008 comes up with the idea of communicative intelligence as the integration of cognitive, emotional resources with behavioral abilities that creates experiences and develops relationships to solve, look at this, to solve problems, to catalyze change, and to create new meanings, you know. And look at this, I can be a communicatively competent person, but maybe I cannot solve problems. Maybe I cannot create change. Maybe I cannot, you know, provide new meanings to things. But a communicatively competent person, a communicatively intelligent person, you know, uses his cognitive and emotional resources with behavioral abilities to create experiences, to develop relationships, to solve problems that will in turn catalyze change and will in turn, you know, create new meanings. So communicative intelligence is behaviorally demonstrated through, and you can see it here on the screen, communicative intelligence is behaviorally demonstrated through verbal and nonverbal channels. The teacher has a nonverbal behavior, but he also has, or she also has, a verbal behavior, verbal and nonverbal. And we use that as the foundation to initiate and maintain rapport. You know, sometimes we use verbal and nonverbal communication, but we don't have a rapport with our students. There is a distance between us and our students. You know, there's an abyss. There's a huge gap between us because we have not initiated that rapport. You know, and then what is rapport? Rapport is a foundation with which to build relationships. You know, you create a relationship, you know, between you and your students, between you and your family, between you and your neighbors. You know, things like those. In this case, as teachers, we need to create a rapport between us and our students. What kind of a relationship is that? Is that a negative relationship? Is that a positive relationship? What is it? What exactly are you know, are we do we have in our classes? And then I would say that public servants and teachers are public servants, police officers are public servants, and firefighters are public servants. We may not have total control. We may not have total control over the outcome of, you know, the contact between teacher and students, you know, but we can have control over the type of treatment the student receives from us, you know, the type of treatment the student receives from us. And in my case, I work at a university where 80% of the kids are low income, you know, They come up with all sorts of problems. If I really want to keep a situation under control, I can say, all right, I have 20 kids in this class. You all have to submit your homework tomorrow at 4 o'clock. But there's something I need to understand. There are some, I mean, out of those 20 kids, maybe 2 kids cannot turn in their homework because, you know, in Colombia, I don't know about other countries, but in Colombia, sometimes the electricity goes off and the Wi-Fi doesn't work properly. And sometimes kids, you know, live in these low-income homes where the father or the mother, they don't have enough money to give to provide the child to you know, to submit his homework or her homework. So based on that, I really have to give my students the best treatment, you know, that they can receive. So
Yeah, dear Jose, could you give us a few seconds if somebody wants to make a comment about all the very important information you are sharing with us?
yeah, just
Jose?
tell me again, please.
Yes, can you give us a few seconds to make a comment about all the very
Sure.
important information? Okay,
Sure.
anybody here in the audience who wants to express his or her comment or opinion? I have my opinion, but I would like somebody else. Yeah, Carlos. In Ecuador.
Okay, I would like to ask Mr. Lobo. Okay, first I have to say congratulations, excellent topic. The communicative approach is something that it is very famous here. A lot of teachers want to improve in the communicative approach, so it is an excellent topic. I would like to know why the textbooks usually include conversation strategies at the end of the course. I mean, for the advanced levels, maybe you can find listening and speaking books and conversation books. But when they are about to finish the level, but for the beginning, the intermediate, we don't have that. So it's more like when you want to take the international examinations, you can find these textbooks that can help you with the conversation strategies. So that maybe that is the problem why we don't develop the communicative approach, because we are forming the students, and when we are doing it, we just concentrate in the grammar. It's in the end that sometimes the editorials have the programs with the concentration of conversation strategies, listening and speaking. I think it should be included in all. That is my question.
Thank you, Carlos. Jose, back to you.
I agree with Carlos when Carlos says that in Colombia too, Carlos, in Colombia textbooks, you know, they offer a lot of structures, lots of reading, you know, but the readings are not significant. They are like easy readings. They don't get our students to think, to go beyond their level of, you know, intelligence. I mean, it's really like some readings are like insulting our students in the sense that they believe that providing an easy reading is going to be, you know, enough for our kids. And lots of structures. Many of the, for example, in the Colombian government basis, the Colombian government evaluates and assesses students based on reading and based on grammar. So basically that's, and that we don't go beyond that. And you are right, Carlos, in the sense that we need to teach our kids a little bit of pragmatics, you know, a lot about socioculture. It means the different, I mean, you know, the importance of social class, the importance of gender, gender differences, you know, gender differences and sexual orientations, the importance of social class, different socioeconomic levels, you know, wealthy, you know, middle class, poor, low income, you know, and others, you know, and also the importance of different races. You know, there's the white people who are white, people who are Afro-Colombian or Afro-Peruvian or Afro-Ecuadorian, you know, all of these things, people of indigenous origins, people of other different national origins, blah, 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 blah. And then conversational competence. That's very important. That is not taught. We don't make emphasis on that. How to begin a conversation, how to finish a conversation, how to change a topic, you know, how to get a person to think differently, how to avoid answering a question, you know. And then politicians are very good at this. Politicians are very good at using the conversational competence and pragmatic competence. You know, they are very, very good at that, because they really, you ask them a question, they don't answer the question. They just play with you, you know.
The problem,
and in terms of
the problem is their intention, Jose.
and their intention is in the pragmatic competence, in their pragmatic competence. And in the, I mean, you know, in terms of speech acts, what are their intentions? And they are hiding the truth. They're not telling us, they're telling us lies. But then in pragmatic competence, there are several maxims, you know, there are several maxims. And among those maxims, we find the maxim of not lying, but they do it on purpose. Now, I'm not saying everybody. And in terms of, for example, what Carlos says, you know, we are not teaching our kids to speak using conversational competence or sociocultural competence or pragmatic competence or strategic competence. We're only focused on structures and easy things, you know, but then we're forgetting the basis. We're forgetting the foundations of what Dale Himes mentioned, you know, and he says that we need to teach our kids, you know, to speak within the social matrix of life, you know.
Sorry, Jose, Medalik wanted to say something, sorry.
Yes, anytime.
Thank you, Jose. Medalik.
Thank you very much, Jaime, and thank you very much, Mr. Lobo, because it's very enrichment. Your presentation is very important. Nowadays, I think, is the most important nowadays, communication. And as Spitzberg, I'd like to focus my comment in communication approach in a second language, wherever we teach. And as initially Spitzberg said that what is communication competence is the ability to interact well with others. And what is for us to interact well with others? I mean that is when he suggests that communication competence is best understood as situational ability to set realistic language, realistic topics. We are in Peru talking about a topic that is in another part of the world where our students don't understand that we need to go back to explain this is the realistic in that place, the reality in that place, but they don't know, so we have to go back to explain that. But why, if we have our realistic situations in our country, why not to discuss, why not to use our reality in our communication in an English class, for example, and not confuse the students. We need to communicate what we have around us, what is realistic to us. That's, I think, is very important for a very good communication. That's thank you very much.
Thank you, Medali. Thank you, Jose Lobo. No more interruptions.
No. On the contrary, that was very good, and I agree with her. I agree with Medali. Is that the name? Yes, I agree with her. I agree with her in the sense that we are talking about issues that are not connected with our reality. You know, the Big Bang. That's okay to know about that. You know, it's okay to know about the Big Bang and the London Bridge. That's okay. But also we need to talk about our problems in English, you know, about our problems in English, about our social situations, you know, about the, let's say, for example, people in Colombia, they don't know much about the indigenous peoples of Colombia. You know, up north in Colombia, there is a group of indigenous people, they are starving, you know, but kids, they really know about that. And maybe we can discuss that. And also in Peru, you know, also in Bolivia and Paraguay, different countries, we have problems that need to be talked about, that need to be discussed, and they need to be they need to be dealt with. I totally agree with her 100%. Oh boy. Are you guys listening to me?
Yes,
Hello?
we hear.
Yes, we are,
Oh.
Jose.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was frozen. All right, now, oh boy, I got scared. You know, I really got scared.
It always happens to the best guest speakers. Don't worry.
So I really want to go back. We're really going to want to go back to the fact that we teachers, I mean, all sorts of public servants, you know, we don't really have total control over the outcome of the interaction between teacher and students, you know, but we have control over the type of treatment we can give our students, you know, and we can have control over the type of treatment the student receives from us, you know, and the one thing is that there is a dynamic presence. There's a dynamic presence, which is a behavioral ability of communicative intelligence. And this can be achieved by adjusting to our students' shifting emotional needs during contact. Some kids, they come with problems from home. You know, they come from dysfunctional homes, or they have problems with personal problems. Maybe they suffer from some type of something. I don't know. Maybe they have I don't know. So, I used to work at a well. My wife used to work at a school where kids were some of them were schizophrenic, some of them had Down syndrome, and some of them came from homes where the parents had lots of fights. The communication between the parents was really bad. So adjusting is very important, you know, and shifting emotional needs is also very important for us, you know. So let's talk a little bit more about communicative intelligence. I know that in the field of English as a foreign language, you have talked a lot. You have talked a lot about communicative competence, but we have talked very little about communicative intelligence. But in these conversations with Jaime has also brought some other presenters who have talked about communicative intelligence. Now, a teacher-student relationship should always foster students, and we know that because we're all seasoned teachers and experienced teachers, you know. Relationships between student and teacher, you know, should always foster a student's active participation, convey an air of neutrality, you know, active participation, as you can see on the screen, convey an air of neutrality and enhance dignity and respect. But sometimes, and I'm saying this because of my daughter, you know, when she used to go to school, sometimes some teachers, they did not foster active participation. They only fostered the participation of some students. They had no sense of neutrality. It means that they were either all the way to the left or all the way to the right, but they were not at the center, you know, and they didn't enhance dignity and respect, you know, towards the kids. And I'm saying that not because of me, but because of my daughter, and she went to an international school. And I also say that because of my nephew, you know, who goes to a state school in Colombia, you know, and the conversations. I was able to check some of the conversations between them and the teachers, you know. But now, let me tell you that communicative intelligence has 5 capabilities. It means 5 tenets, 5 little tenets. Just like communicative competence has other tenets like linguistic competence and pragmatic competence and sociocultural competence and conversational competence and strategic competence. Now, communicative intelligence, the ability, my ability to communicate intelligently, you know, in English and in Spanish or French or German or Italian or Chinese, you know, it has, this communicative intelligence has 5 basic tenets. The first one is interdependence. The second one is consciousness. The third one is craftsmanship. And the fourth one is flexibility. And the last one is efficacy. Or the fourth one is efficacy and the last one is flexibility. And then we rely on other human beings when we want to communicate an idea, you know. And for this reason, we create interdependence. This is what Jaime Ankahima has done. He has created this interdependence among us, among these, all of us professionals from different countries, from different walks of life, you know. And then this interdependence is very important. It is really of utmost importance, you know, in terms of teaching. And in terms of teaching our students as well, we need to create this interdependence among them and with us, you know. And then the second one is consciousness. The second one is consciousness, and consciousness occurs, if I'm not mistaken, consciousness occurs when a person is aware of their ability to influence another person with words and actions. This was said by Zoller in 2015, and Zoller said that this occurs when a person really knows of his ability or her ability to influence another person with words and actions. A teacher, you know, a teacher really influences, you know, students through words and actions, you know. And then consciousness includes being aware or being cognizant of how your speech, the way you use language, speech tones, inflections, pauses, how the way you ask questions, you know, influence those kids who are in front of you or who are around you. Consciousness is very important. But the first one was interdependence, and the second one is consciousness. The third one is craftsmanship. And craftsmanship, look at the picture. Craftsmanship is the idea that we can really communicate, that we can master communication. You know, when we use craftsmanship, we know what technique or speech pattern you're going to use, and then you're going to have the ability to execute it. We need to have a sense of awareness of community. Your kids in front of you and you are a little community. My students and me, you know, we are a little community. And then we need to create a sense of interdependence, a sense of trust, you know. But look at the picture. According to the picture, do you think that Mr. Donald Trump had a sense of craftsmanship? It's a question, just a question. I don't know if somebody wants to answer it.
Anyone, please, who wants to answer Jose's question about our bad friend, Donald Trump? Roxy in Peru?
Yes. Hello, Jose. Just wanted to point it out about Donald Trump's body position. He is with his arms crossed, and that means negative of communication. So he's not accepting what he's listening. So his body language talks. Everybody knows about that, no? So definitely there is no craftsmanship here.
That's very important. What you mentioned is very important. I love what you said, but you're a lady and you're a woman, and women are very, very good observers. And your women are excellent observers, you know, the way a person dresses, the way a person talks, the way a person paraphrases something.
Everything gives a message, right?
Yeah, very good. But I'm not very good at that because I'm a boy, you know. But if you take a look at that, if you take a look at the picture, and then you mentioned something very important. Donald Trump's nonverbal communication. His arms are crossed. He has crossed arms. He's looking at what is her name? Merkel, Angela Merkel. He's looking at her defiantly. But look at the way Angela Merkel is. I mean, look at her communication skills.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he didn't
aggressive as well.
Maybe that's why he didn't like her. Maybe that's why he didn't like her, because she was not going to be a woman to be walked over. She was not going to be a doormat. She wasn't going to be a pushover, and he was not going to push her over. And basically she was telling him what she really thought, and she was telling him in his face, right? So and she had the craftsmanship. But he lacked that skill. Now, so far we have mentioned interdependence. We have mentioned interdependence, and we have mentioned consciousness, how we can influence other people, and craftsmanship, which is skills, and then the next one is efficacy. And efficacy is the feeling that I am competent and that I can communicate effectively. It means that I need to be self-confident, not to feel that I am not competent and that I am not going to communicate effectively. That's what efficacy is. And the last one is, and that is very important, flexibility. And flexibility is closely aligned to the idea of being not strict. It is a key skill at in adapting to another person's communication style and emotional state. When we use communicative intelligence, we're serving our students with dignity. We're giving them respect. We're giving them a voice. We are treating them fairly and with impartiality, and we're trying to provide trustworthiness. That's when we're using communicative intelligence. Now, I can be a communicatively competent person, but I can be a communicatively unintelligent person. And then I wanted to show that example to you, but I don't want to really use it. I don't really want to use it. Is that me? Who's doing that? Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I need a volunteer to at least try to read what you see on the board. I found this exercise, from a professor in the United States. But one thing that I found was that the exercise is incomplete because I took a screenshot. But we can try to put it together amongst all of us. Can somebody please help me out? Please.
Anybody, please, a $1,000 prize.
I can try to do it. Okay.
Irma, go on.
Okay. All right. First line. Pretend like you are a slave working on a Mississippi plantation. Write a letter to your family back in Africa or in any other American state describing your life. You may discuss the journey to America as we go day-to-day task you perform. That's wrong. I did something wrong there. You may also want to tell about the family you like to work for and how you pass your time when you're working. At least 3 paragraphs, 5 sentences in your writing exercise or writing activity. I don't know.
Now, his writing is okay. His writing is good. I mean, that's English, and then that's his communicative competence is all right. But tell me a little bit about, or maybe in terms of his communicative competence, he's missing something. And in terms of his communicative intelligence, this teacher is missing something. What is it?
Well, one of the things that I've noticed first is he has complete ideas, but in chunks. So it's, you know, step by step by step by step. And that's not the way that we talk or speak or express our ideas or feelings. We're supposed to be connecting them with a good flow. So maybe the connection between the ideas and the feelings, and then trying to connect with the students, because this is just giving, you know, like instructions, like orders, and sometimes you need to, yeah, give this task, explain the task, and give the instructions, but in a very, you know, kind way with our students. So, okay, you're in charge of the workshop, so you tell me what's missing.
Well, he created this activity for African American kids in the United States.
Okay.
You know, it's like
I'll go to milk and black. Okay.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So he designed this activity for African American kids. How do you think, guys, all of you, how do you think these African American kids are gonna see this type of homework? Are they gonna take it lightly, or are they going to be offended by this? I mean, maybe.
Well, the teacher is assuming that everybody knows about the plantation and working in the plantation, and I think that's prejudice. And that's the wrong way to start a writing activity. If he wants the students, if he wants the students to start writing about what happened during the plantation times, then it's like a different orientation.
Yeah.
Not everybody knows. It's exactly the same situation with the Holocaust. You can have a German student right there in your class, and if you assume because he's from Germany, he will know exactly every single detail about the Holocaust, and that's prejudice. So maybe, I don't know, I may be wrong. Okay.
No, but it's true. But I'm saying that I agree with you. I agree with you that we need to be very careful about these cultural issues.
Yeah.
We need to be very careful. That's why we need a conversation between us and the students. You know what I'm saying? To keep the conversation open. You need to let your students talk so that you may design activities that may not offend your children. You know what I'm saying? So if, for example, if I have a group of Colombian students and I have two natives among my students, and I do not include them, they're going to feel left out. They're going to feel left out. But at the same time, if I include an activity and I include them, but my activity is insulting to their culture, that's because I did not talk to them before. That's because I did not talk to them before, and because I didn't take into account the issue of interdependence. You know, the issue of issue of interdependence, and the issue of interdependence is very important. Also, the teacher is not being flexible. The teacher believes that the issue of slavery is long gone, that nobody remembers that. But I would say that some people, you know, in the United States and also in Colombia, but in Peru too, you know, and in countries where we had plantations like Jamaica, you know, Aruba, in the United States and some other countries, you know, in Colombia, in Cartagena, you know, some people are going to be offended by this. It is important that we keep the conversation open. It is very important that we keep the conversation open. And that's why we need to be conscious. We need to be conscious, you know, of the importance of interdependence. we need to use a lot of skills, communicative skills. You know, we need to have the craftsmanship, you know, to be effective communicators. Nobody remembers that. You know, okay, and we need to be flexible. We need to really be flexible. Okay, let me show you the next one. I know that we have very little time, and Jaime wants us to finish soon. Now look at what this teacher wrote in one of her students' a piece of homework. Let's take a look at that. I don't know if you can see that, guys.
Yeah, we can see it.
And the person says, absolutely pathetic. He answered 13 things, you know, answers in 3 minutes. Sad. What do you think of that?
We don't use that word.
I would say use the same word for the teacher, pathetic.
Yeah, that's true. That's you, Raj. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, hi.
Why are you so? Why do you say that?
We don't even use the red color right now, because
Right.
sometimes people say that when you use the red color, you are traumatizing the children. So you don't use that color. You have to use blue or black, but you don't have to use red color to grade students. That is something that is not, well, I think is not allowed at the moment.
Yeah, it is not recommended.
Well, I think, Jose, it really points to the language, and it points to the consciousness from where my language arises. Is this going to build connection, or am I just so focused on my goal, I don't care about the experience?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, my goal is important, but the way I get to my goal is also very important. The process, my communicative skills, and my communicative intelligence is also very important. Not only should we have communicative skills, you know, or a communicative competence, but also a communicative intelligence. We need to use that. We need to use that. Right now, let me show you. I want to show you. Oh boy, I don't know what I did. Where did I go?
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Okay, no. Wait a minute. I need to show
okay,
you.
Jose. That's
Don't worry,
okay.
Jose.
That
It
happens to
always-
everybody. Yes,
It always happens to the best guest speakers, only to the best speakers.
Okay, I want to show.
One other comment, if I may. This
Sure.
teacher is focusing in what this student was not able to accomplish. I mean, answering 13 answers, even in 3 minutes, maybe sound like not enough for this teacher, but hey, 13 answers. Give me a break. Sometimes some students, they need longer time than the others. So if he consider a 3 times activity for this, whatever homework or fill in the blank exercise he put together for the class, I mean, that means that, hey, you need to pay attention. If he's able to answer 13, and that's the top of the answers that this particular student is going to be able to accomplish, my God, it's not a minus, it's a plus. So it's like, you know, points of view and the views of the teacher over the students. And we still have to learn a lot from there. Okay. That's all that I wanted to comment. Thank you, Jose.
That is true. That is true. And then the point of flexibility, we need to be flexible too. You know, but I want to show you that being communicatively competent is not enough. Being communicatively competent is not enough. That's why we have lots of divorces. That's why we have lots of fights in classrooms. That's why we have lots of fights, you know, in our workplaces, because I can really be a communicatively competent person, but I can be a terrible communicator. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I would say I could say the worst things in the world to my colleagues, to my bosses, you know, to everybody, to my wife, to my kids, you know, to my neighbors. You know, the way I communicate really shows my communicative intelligence. So I need to show you one last activity, and we're going to be finishing early today. One last, I want to show you a video, okay? Let me see here. Let me stop showing this, and let me show you a little video that are you seeing the video? Yeah, so let me show you this. Now, you know this case very well because you guys are you're well-traveled. I don't know what I'm showing, but anyway, let's see.
Don't worry, don't worry. I let you know if it is one of your personal videos, don't.
Not really.
Don't worry, Jose. Remember, it always happens to the best guest speakers, only to the best ones.
Okay, I know in this case, I know that you know R. Kelly, Robert Kelly, the singer.
Yeah.
The singer, and he was accused of, he has been accused, and he has been already convicted. He has been accused of harassing, controlling, and abusing women, you know, especially underage girls. Okay, also all older women, but also underage girls, you know. So I need you guys to watch this, and we can talk a little bit about it, okay? And he's a native speaker of English. All right, so here we go. But I'm not sure that I'm sharing the sound. Let me check. Let me just check. Let me just check. Where do I check that? Where do I check? Where do I check that the sound is?
When you shared your screen down the left corner.
Yeah, I saw it. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Optimizar. Yeah, optimize. Yes. And then this one here, and then yes, I got it. Thank you, Jaime. That's very good. I got it. All right. All right. All right. So here we go. Let's watch this.
Es la plataforma de control de gastos más sencilla de usar para tu empresa. Tendrás tarjetas de crédito.
I'm surprised that you agreed to do it. Why are you sitting down with us today?
I'm very tired of all of the lies. I've been hearing things and, you know, and seeing things on the blogs, and, you know, I'm just tired.
What are the lies that you're hearing that disturb you most?
Oh my God, all of them. Got little girls trapped in the basement, helicopters over my house, trying to rescue someone that doesn't need rescuing because they're not in my house, handcuffing people, starving people. I have a harem, what you call it, a cult. I don't even really know what a cult is, but I know I don't have one, you know.
Have you done anything that you regret? Have you done anything wrong?
Lots of things wrong when it comes to women that I apologize, but I apologize in those relationships at the time I was in the relationships.
Have you broken any laws when it comes to women?
Absolutely not.
The 6-part series interviewed 50 people, family members, your former tour manager, numerous women who all claim that you abused them. Are you saying everybody in that documentary was not telling the truth about you? Everybody?
If you really look at that documentary, which I'm sure you have,
I have.
Everybody said something bad about me. Nobody said nothing good. They was describing Lucifer. I'm not Lucifer. I'm a man. I make mistakes, but I'm not a devil, and by no means am I a monster.
I'm going to name the names. Andrea Kelly, your ex-wife, Kitty Jones, Lisa Van Allen, Lisette Martinez, Geronda Pace, Faith Rogers, Asante McGee. You're saying everything they said in that documentary about you is not true.
They are lying on me.
Why would these women say the same thing about you, that you are controlling, that you are abusive, that you tell women when to eat, when to go to the bathroom, when they can sleep, where they can dress? Why would all these women tell these different stories about you if they were not true? And they don't know each other. That defies logic to me.
Right, right. Until you hear the explanation. You can start a rumor on a guy like me or a celebrity just like that. All you have to do is push a button on your phone and say, so-and-so did this to me. R. Kelly did this to me. And if you get any traction from that, if you're able to write a book from that, if you're able to get a reality show, then any girl that I had a relationship in the past that it just didn't work out, she can come and say the same exact thing.
Are you blaming this on social media?
I'm talking about the power of social media.
In 2008, R. Kelly was found not guilty
on 14 counts of child pornography after prosecutors in Chicago failed to convince a jury that he was a man seen in a sex tape with a girl as young as 13.
What do you want to say to your fans?
Last month, Kelly was indicted again, this time charged with aggravated criminal sexual abuse of 4 women, including 3 who the charges say were minors at the time. Have you ever had sex
No.
with anyone under the age of 17?
No.
Never.
No.
I have to tell you, it's so hard to believe that based on all that we've read
I'm gonna tell
and
you
what the
something,
women
Gail.
have
There's
said
one
about you.
I'm gonna
What
tell
the
you
women have
something.
said about you.
What women said about me. What women. So nobody's allowed to be mad at me and be scorned and lie on me.
So they're lying on you. That's your explanation. They're lying on you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You feel that people have maligned your
I
character.
have been assassinated. I have been buried alive. But I'm alive.
So I think the point you're making is, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you have never held anybody against their will.
I don't need to. Why would I?
Well,
How stupid would it
never
be
held
for R.
anybody-
Kelly, with all I've been through in my way past, to hold somebody, let alone 4, 5, 6, 50, you said. Why, how stupid would I be to do that?
I didn't say you were
That's
holding.
stupid, guys.
I didn't.
Is this camera on me?
Yes, it's on.
That's stupid. Use your common sense. Don't forget the blogs. Forget how you feel about me. Hate me if you want to, love me if you want, but just use your common sense. How stupid would it be for me to, with my crazy past and what I've been through, right now I just think I need to be a monster and hold girls against their will, chain them up in my basement, and don't let them eat and don't let them out unless they need some shoes down the street from their uncle.
Robert,
Stop it. Y'all quit playing. Quit playing.
Robert.
I didn't do this stuff. This is not me, y'all. I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this. I gave y'all 30 years of my career.
Robert.
30 years of my career. Y'all trying to kill me. You killing me, man. This is not about music. I'm trying to have a relationship with my kids, and I can't do it. Y'all just don't want to believe the truth. You don't want to believe it.
Ooh, that was something. Now, I need to go back to the presentation. All right, just very quickly. No, I don't want to. I don't want to see it. I don't want you to see that, but I want to.
We got 15 more minutes, Jose.
Yeah, that's everything I need. So here we go. All right, so we have this thing here. Okay, so I need you guys to tell me in your own words, using the interview with R. Kelly, and you have here on the right, you have here the components of communicative competence, and on the left you have the components of communicative intelligence. What does he have and what does he not have? He's a native speaker of English, but still the conversation went all right. It didn't go all right, it went all right. It went wrong, it went crazy. What is the problem with this gentleman in terms of communicative competence and in terms of, communicative intelligence? I'm all ears, guys. What do you say? I don't know, anybody. I'm sorry if what do you think? He's been accused of keeping women in his house against their will. And those women are accusing him now. They are accusing him now. What do you think is the problem with him in terms of communicative intelligence and communicative competence? I don't know, whatever you wish to say.
Anybody, please?
I would go with conversational competence. Like he wasn't able to converse in a way that demonstrated that he could hold his composure. That's one point I'd like to start with. Yeah. And just not noticing the impact that it was having on others to the point that somebody came to make sure that he didn't become violent.
And he almost became violent, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That would have been very bad.
Well, see, because it didn't demonstrate that he could control his emotions. Yeah.
So he was not communicatively intelligent.
Intelligent, right. He couldn't demonstrate that competency in a social environment.
Yeah, I guess Roxy wants to say something.
Yes, thank you, Jaime. I wanted to contrast his strategy competence and conversation competence and how he tried at the beginning to manipulate with his tone of voice. He was like a very soft, like very calm, like I'm innocent. I'm not able to have done what they have, they told I have done. But then in his competence intelligence, his consciousness came out and he was out of control. And that's why he almost became violent. His body position, again, he stood up because he wanted to be over the woman, because it was a woman who was interviewing him. So he was like losing his patience, and then he really showed who he is. No, I have seen some other videos from Robert Kelly, and I noticed how violent he is, and he wants to sell an image that he's not really that quiet and calm as he was trying to show at the very beginning. Okay.
That's very powerful. What you said is really very powerful. And then what you said, his nonverbal behavior, in communicative intelligence, he stood up. And then he did this. And then he was touching his chest like very strongly. And that was really not appropriate. And that's what Rash says, that, his conversational style, his conversational skill. And then you mentioned that, Rosanna, that's very good. You mentioned that he is, he totally became another person, right? He
Yes.
was pretending he was nice.
I think he didn't become another person. He really showed who he is. He was camouflaging his real appearance at first. But then all of a sudden, through the conversation, we could see who that Robert Kelly is.
But then you mentioned something that he was showing the interviewer that she is a woman. And then he showed that she was inferior to him, and that's why he stood up. Exactly.
Now, and everybody knows that being the difference in level, that is mean I am the boss. I am the one who is controlling the situation, and the interviewer did a very good job, which she controlled very well, and she maintained sitting down. And I think if the interviewer would have been a man, they would both of them would have stood it up and then confronting very seriously the situation.
And I think
so
Micaela wanted to say something at some point.
Micaela, in Peru.
Yes, hi. Yeah, I was saying that this guy wants to send an image of himself that he didn't do all the charges that the woman accused him. But with his reaction in front of the interviewer, he showed who really he is. He showed up his real personality and lost the control. That's what I want to say.
So he's showing his true colors.
The true colors. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Yes, yes, Irma.
Yeah, I just wanted, I mean, it's the first time that I've seen this video, and
and the last time.
And the last time, yeah. And
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No,
scare
come
you.
on, don't worry, Jose. Don't
that's
worry.
okay. No, that's okay.
It's not
Perfect.
you, but it's his behavior.
Right, and the fact that this is what I wanted to share. In the two situations, communicative abilities and intelligence, it's hard to train our students to hold a little bit their feelings and be able to put ideas in a way that they can first express what they think, second, express what they feel, but in a very intelligent way, so people can see what you are thinking, and at the same time trying to persuade them to understand how they feel. I think that that's the most difficult part when we're practicing speaking activities in the high level. Most of the time, what I have done in my classes is, you know, ask my students to give me a list of topics that you would like to talk about, especially if they're in an advanced level of proficiency. And the students have done that. And I've been able to include debates, you know, with a trick like who's pro, who's con, and then switching them the roles. Whoever is pro is going to go and do the con, and, you know, vice versa. But one of the things that I've noticed is that lacking the capacity for me, this is my frustration, okay, of how can I train my students, how can I help my students to be able to put together, like I said, ideas and feelings, and at the same time in a very intelligent way, so the listener will be able to understand and be persuaded by my point of view, which is one of the most key concepts in a debate. And I think that's, well, going back to the video, this guy is, I mean, nobody who hits his fist is going to convince me that I'm not a controller. Bottom line, it's, I only need one image and it's like, oh, no way, Jose, you're a controller. That's it. I don't know about the rest, and I don't want to know about the rest of it.
You're right. You're right.
But going back, like, how about you, Jose? Do you have any experience? Have you been able to? How would you, or what would you suggest for us as teachers to do that? Because that's my key question regarding debates.
Marco has a comment to make. Jose Lobo. Marco in Mexico, please.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I think taking into account what all of you have mentioned about the video and the characteristics of the video and the man's behavior, here is where or how we can make the difference between communicative competence and communicative intelligence, right? I was at the beginning when Jose told us to think about it, to reflect about it, and say something. I was looking at the characteristics of communicative competence and communicative intelligence. Can you please show that again, please?
Yes, sir.
And I think I realized why Jose insisted on telling us that he is a native English speaker, right? So looking at the characteristics, I think we can observe that as an English speaker, he is communicative competent, definitely communicative competent in English. However, I think, I'm not sure if he manages all of the characteristics of communicative competence appropriately, right? But I was looking at the characteristics of communicative intelligence, and I think this is what he lacks. I mean, I think he has a problem with interdependence, with consciousness, with craftsmanship, with efficacy and flexibility. All of these characteristics of communicative intelligence, right? So that's my comment. Academically here we can, I think we can observe the difference between one and the other, because obviously at the beginning it is not easy to identify what each term means. Okay. So this is my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Marco.
Jaime, I think Alida has something to say about efficacy.
Alida?
Ah, okay.
Alida?
Excuse me, my connection is not very stable.
Don't worry, we can hear you.
Yeah, I mean, everything he said was understandable. So you could say he's communicatively competent in terms of language, vocabulary, structures, but he could not accomplish his objective by the way he behaved, by his body language, the volume of his voice, his tone, his hands, everything. So he was not efficient. There was no efficacy.
And that is true. And thank you, Alida. And everybody, in the sense that, I mean, he is communicatively competent. I still believe that he lacks sociocultural competence in terms of women. You know, he does not respect women, right? I mean, he does not respect women. And we're talking about women of color. I mean, his own kind. He does not respect them. I mean, he wants to use them, abuse them, control them, you know. I mean, thank God he didn't kill anybody, but he really killed them in, you know, while they were living, because he kept them, you know, he kept them in his house. The other one is that his capabilities, his communicative intelligence abilities are not the best. I mean, you know, his efficacy, as Alida says, is not there. Craftsmanship, he has none. He's not conscious of what he's doing, you know. He doesn't really know he doesn't know the importance of interdependence, and he is not flexible. He's not really, you know, he's not really adapting to what the interviewer is saying or asking him. He's just trying to use his pragmatic competence. He was trying to deceive. He was trying to deceive the public, and he was trying to deceive Miss Gale. You know, he was trying to deceive her. But at the very end, his communicative intelligence, you know, betrayed him. He doesn't have that. Well, one thing I want to conclude that we teachers, and I want to thank, I think it was Marcos who said this, you know, that we have to teach our students not only to be communicatively competent, but we need to teach them how to be good, how to use their communicative intelligence. You know what I'm saying? In the sense that they need to be, in the sense that they need to know the importance of interdependence. We always need somebody else to talk to. We always need other people to, you know, to be friends with. Jaime is a very good example. Jaime is an excellent example, because Jaime has friends in Mexico, but he has friends in Argentina, he has friends in England, and he has friends in Colombia. It's true. It's true. It's unlike me, you know. And then the importance of consciousness. Importance of consciousness, how we can influence other people. My words can really impact other people in good ways and in bad ways, you know. And what he did was wrong. And then he had no skills. He had no craftsmanship. He had no skills. He didn't know how to play the game. I mean, he didn't know how to talk. He didn't know how to converse intelligently, I'm saying. And then, I mean, he was not, I mean, his efficacy, it was not there. His communication was not effective. And last but not least, he was not flexible. He was very arrogant. He was very inflexible. He was very rigid in his way of thinking, you know. I would say that his ideology, his macho ideology, his sexist ideology came out you know, and then he showed his true colors because of that. I want to thank you very much for being here. I want to thank you for giving me the chance to talk. And I really feel very proud of my Latin America, my dark-skinned Latin American people, you know, and we are intelligent. We are different, but not less. Different, but not less. We are as good as other people are. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jose Lobo. We got still 8
Thank you,
minutes.
Mr. Lobo. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Listen, please. We still got 8 more minutes, and because of your great presentation, Jose, let me share something that you made me think about. I don't know if you are familiar with this Ventana de Johari. Are you familiar, anybody, with the Ventana de Johari? And he explains that there are 4 windows or doors of the personality. The first one is the public window, which you know everything good and bad you have, and everybody else knows it. The second one is the blind window, which you don't see, but the people see what you do good, you do well or badly. The third one is the true colors that you don't know about the other people. That is the hidden window. We don't know what Marco, Jose, Medalit, Jaime does well or badly when we don't see him or her. And the unknown window, which is we don't know how we are going to react under certain circumstances. And the other thing that you reminded me of, Jose Lobo, I highly recommend you to watch this. I don't know if you have seen this movie, The Great Debaters, and is with my brother, Denzel Washington. He's my brother, if you don't know. We were talking last night. And this is a true story based on a teacher who teaches his students to debate, so that is, use the language to transmit ideas and everything you have said. So thank you so much, dear Jose Lobo. I admire the work you do. I admire what you have achieved in life, because I have known you for 7 years, Jose. When I met you, I guess, in the jungle of Colombia, beautiful moment we were in the middle of the jungle. Do you remember, Jose? So thank you very much. Anybody else who wants to express his or her gratitude to our good friend, Jose Lobo? We got 6 more minutes.
Carlos was saying something.
Yes, I think it was an excellent topic. Definitely, Mr. Lobo, you were right, and I have heard a lot about this competency, about being always always trying to make the communicative approach. And some teachers even say that the communicative approach, we have to apply that, but the students have to communicate, and we have to be like monitors of them. Even I remember one supervisor in an academy that I used to work, and she said that we have to control the TTT, teacher talking time. And she says the communicative approach is the student should speak, but that was only in the, let's say, the advanced courses, because at the beginning they don't have enough vocabulary to go to the communicative approach. So we have like 12 levels in that academy. In level 9, 10, 11, and 12, we apply completely the communicative approach. And I remember that in those levels, we were controlled. They say, you don't have to speak that much, because if you speak too much, then you are wrong, and you are in the teacher talking time. So try to avoid TTT. When they said that, I was like, oh my God, and now what can I do? Because sometimes they need an explanation for the structure that are a little difficult. Like, for example, when you want to express a wish, you have to explain the grammar. For example, I wish I hadn't talked like that. I wish I wish I were rich, things like that, you know.
I wish I were in Barranquilla with Jose Lobo now.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Thank you,
Yes.
Carlos. Back to Roxana, please, briefly. We have 3 more minutes.
Yes, just to thank Jose to make us aware that differences about the communicative competence and the communicative intelligence. And this makes me feel like we have always to remember that our books, wherever we are teaching, using them, are just tools. And we are the ones who have to adapt them. We have to be flexible. And I think if one of my lessons says something about the Big Bang, I will make a personalization. And I will say, okay, now let's talk about in the area that we are here in Peru, in Lima, tell me about the most important monuments. Tell me about the most important icons. And we can make transfer of the knowledge. Everybody needs to know a little bit of everywhere or everybody, but it's us who is controlling, and this communicative intelligence helps us to be alert of this. So thank you very much, Jose, for this talk.
Thank you, Roxy. Somebody else, we got time for one more person.
I'd like
Well,
to...
I wrote my, go ahead, Rush. I wrote
No,
my
no,
message
after you.
already in the chat. Okay, I just wanted to say thank you again. I learned new concepts, and that's something that I really appreciate. So thank you. It was very good, Jose. Okay.
Thank you, Irma. Our president, the last word, the closing
Yes, the
words.
closing words, closing words.
Well, Jose, thank you. This was very informative. And one phrase that stood out for me, we may not have control of the outcome, but we can attend to the experience. And I think that is what's most important, is what experience am I having and what experience are other people having. Thank you so much.
Yeah, before we say goodbye, let me remind you that next presentation will be given by our good friend Roxy Tenorio in Peru. She has a question that she has been asking us for a long time, and she will give us the answer on Sunday the 24th. Is mine? I hope you have the answer, Roxy. Is mindset more important than techniques? Okay, that's what she will be talking about. So
I will start with that question, so I'm expecting answers first.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. We hope that our communicative competence can be shown that day. So thank you, Raj in Canada, Roxy in Peru, Micaela in Peru, Irma in Ecuador, Medalit in Peru, UK and Switzerland, Marco in Mexico, Jose Lobo, thank you so much. Carlos in Ecuador, Maria Teresa Terán in Bolivia, Cynthia Javes in Peru, Milva, I don't know where, Alida Vizcaíno in Colombia, and Tania Cajamarca in Peru. Thank you, everyone. Have a very nice Sunday. And today, Peru plays Bolivia at 3.
Today, Peru wins.
I hope.
Okay. Somebody from Bolivia? Sorry, somebody from Bolivia? Sorry, Maria
Yes, Maria Teresa Terán.
Excuse me.
Well,
but
today Canada celebrates Thanksgiving. Today Canada celebrates Thanksgiving.
Oh my goodness. Have a great
Thanksgiving in Canada.
Raj.
Thank you, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye-bye, Jose Lobo. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Happy Thanksgiving in Canada.
Be good.